skinty. I like this. Goodbye, Rona, wait. Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Dooley Does Food. I'm your host, Dooley Noted. Welcome back. Really appreciate your support over the last couple of months. These numbers, these analytics are popping. Wow, I'm assuming a lot of y'all are engaging in some other content. If y'all don't know, she's diversifying. Yes, so on Sundays, I do the panel with Manny Rants, where we talk about pop culture, RuPaul's Drag Race, and whatever shenanigans are going on in the world at that point in time. And as y'all know, the world has been pretty lit these last couple of months. I might even say year. We also have our podcast on Monday called Food Porn, where we talk about our favorites or not favorites. The various experiences that we've had just being in these streets trying to eat food and being a little hefty. Then we also have our podcast on Wednesdays, Online Dating and the Ghosts Who Run It, where we share our personal experiences, engaging in the highways and the byways of just trying to find a man. Y'all, if y'all are partnered, don't just keep them, because it's real weird out here. Just, keep them, because oof. And then on Thursday, we have our trivia show with Maddie Rants on the Airtime app, where I write drag race trivia questions and you have an opportunity to win money. If you have more questions about any of that stuff, it'll be down in the show notes. But today we're here to talk about Dooley Does Food. Today we're doing a little bit of fusion. I'm going to teach you all how to make fresh flatbread from hand. Yes, we are dealing with bread, but I promise it won't be as intricate or as chaotic as some of the other bread recipes that are out there. Flatbread is really, really easy. You can do it within, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour. Also broke out my grill, Bertha, my favorite grill. Ooh, I love her. We're gonna be doing a grilled salmon on top of a flatbread. We're gonna be making a little bit of tzatziki. And I show you all how to make an authentic Chinese Szechuan chili oil. Why did I say it weird like that? It's definitely Szechuan, but work. All right, let's get into this so that this episode is not 45 minutes. I'll see y'all on the other side. Peace. All right, first things first, before we even get into the rest of our recipe, we gotta prepare our spicy Szechuan oil. I suggest doing this a day ahead. If not, let us pray. I have a little bit more ingredients than what the recipe calls for because I'm making some for my dad. So for all intents and purposes, you will need 1 quart of neutral oil. We don't want to get any ambient flavors. I suggest canola. I suggest peanut. Please do not do sesame. Do not do olive. That's not really suitable for what we have here. And if you must, please go ahead and use vegetable oil. Also have 5 star anise, 4 cloves of garlic. You're gonna go ahead and smash them. Leave on their skins though. That's extra flavor. 2 tablespoons of coriander seed, 1 cinnamon stick, 1/3 of a cup of Szechuan peppercorns, 4 black cardamom, 1 cup of Szechuan chili flakes, 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt, and a tablespoon of black vinegar. That's what I have here. I got most of this stuff from a local Asian market. However, I'm fairly positive you can get all this stuff from Amazon. It's worth it, y'all. This stuff comes in handy. If you're not gonna use it, just store it and put it away for another time. All right, so I got a medium sauce pot here. We're gonna go ahead and put in all of our spices. You'll reserve the Szechuan chili flakes and the vinegar for just after this. Right now, we just need all of the stuff that you saw on the plate. Go ahead and put that in your pot. And we're going to heat it on low heat. We're doing it that way because we don't want our oil to go rancid. We also don't want any of our ingredients to burn. This is a slow process. I suggest using the thermometer to make sure that you have your oil at the correct temperature. We also need this to be constant. Keep this on low and cook it at approximately 230 degrees Fahrenheit. You do not want it to go any higher than 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, all of the stuff inside this pot is going to smoke and eventually burn, which adds rancid and gross and bitter and all that other stuff that you do not want in this. As you can see here, I'm using the thermometer because I want my stuff to be perfect. From here, you're gonna cook this for at least an hour, but no more than about 2. Anything more than that is too much, and anything less than that won't allow for the infusion that happens in this pot to take place. Shout out to iCloud for correcting this section of my footage, but that's okay because I'm going to describe what happens next. Once you cook your infusion for no more than 2 hours, take a big bowl, I suggest glass because this is very, very hot. Put in your Szechuan chili flakes, add in your black vinegar, add in your salt. I also added in just a little tisp of cumin just for a little razzle dazzle, but that's not necessary. And then you're slowly going to pour your oil infusion into your bowl. Using a strainer, making sure that you get that oil, but we remove any of those little bits and pieces and foliage and all that stuff that's left behind. What you'll notice is that it's gonna get fizzy, it's gonna get bubbly, so work slowly, but be careful. I don't want you to burn yourself, okay? We ain't having no Michael Jackson moments here, okay? Eventually that fizziness will stop, and then you just stir and mix all of your stuff together. Allow for your bowl full of mixture to cool back down to room temperature. From there, I suggest using a ladle and putting your infusion into a mason jar. Close your lid up, then put your jar in the fridge. We're gonna let this cool overnight if you can, if not for several hours. This will allow for all of those flavors to melt together, to percolate, and as it cools, all of those flavors are gonna pop, pop, pop. She's really, truly everything, and that time will just allow everything to do what needs to be done. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and start proofing our flatbread. For this, you will need 1½ teaspoon of sugar, 1 1/4 ounce envelope of active dry yeast. It's just one of those regular packets. 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. Please make sure that it's full fat. It's a regular Greek yogurt, none of that extra substitute stuff. You will need the fat for the recipe. 2 tablespoons of EVOO, extra virgin olive oil, and 2 teaspoons of sea salt. First, go ahead and put your yeast into a big bowl. Then go ahead and add in your sugar. The yeast is going to feed off the sugar, which will help us ultimately make our bread. After you add your sugar, you're going to add in approximately 3 1/4 cups of warm water. It should be no warmer than about 90 to 95 degrees. We don't want to kill the yeast. Whisk together your mixture, and then we're going to let it sit out for about 10 minutes. Eventually, this will start to bubble, it'll start to foam. That means your yeast is alive, it's activated, it is working, and we can use it to make bread. Next up, add in your flour, yogurt, oil, and salt to your mixture, and mix it up until you have this like shaggy kind of dough thing. It's not going to be a fully composed piece of bread yet. We still have to allow for it to proof, remember. So take that little weird shaggy ball of craziness, cover it with a warm, damp kitchen towel, and put it in a warm, dry place for about an hour or until your ball doubles in size. While we're waiting for our dough to rise, we can now prepare our tzatziki sauce. In the bowl, I already have thinly sliced 1/2 of a medium onion and 1/2 of a cucumber. Go ahead and add in 1 cup of Greek-style yogurt. We're also going to add in about 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice and about 2 tablespoons of fresh dill. As you can see here, I slowly take off the leaves and leave the stems, and I quarter my lemon. That should be enough juice there. And then finally, smash your garlic and mince it, add it to your bowl. And then finally, we're gonna finish this off with about half a teaspoon of salt and about a quarter of a cup of black pepper. I really like black pepper, so I added a bit more, but a quarter of a teaspoon is probably enough for you. Go ahead and mix this up with a spatula or spoon and then stick it into your refrigerator to melt together for about 30 to 40 minutes. Essentially, you can keep it in there until you're ready to serve your dish. Now is an excellent time to go ahead and get your grill started. For me, it takes about 20 minutes for my grill to heat up and get to whatever necessary temperature I need it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. If you do not have a grill, please feel free to either put your salmon in the oven or go ahead and put it on the stove top. The time should still apply, but use your best judgment and follow the flavor profiles. She ready. She ready. She ready. She's ready. Alright, before we start to prep our salmon to go on the grill, I wanted to make sure that I showed you all the spices that I use for it. I usually do this by eye and kind of in the moment, so these are all approximations that I came up with because, you know, she'd be cooking from scratch. But I use approximately 1/2 tablespoon of salt, pepper, and dried dill, 1/4 of a tablespoon of basil, thyme, marjoram, and coriander, and then 1 teaspoon of ground mustard and paprika. Whisk it all together and just set it aside momentarily. Now, let's prepare our fish. Start off by just dabbing off some of the moisture. We don't want this to be too damp. We gotta season this and get this right. Also, make sure that your knives are sharpened. Every kit comes with a honing tool. That's that long metal stick that comes with your knife set. Hone them and make sure it's sharp. That'll make the work that we're about to do 100% easier. Before grilling my fish, I like to dab a little bit of olive oil on both sides. I think that ensures that the skin in the fish will be a little crispy, and it'll make sure that the spices we're gonna add stick. Next up, we're gonna take our chef knife and score our fish. That's essentially a fancy word, meaning that we're gonna cut slits, small slits into our fish. You do not want these to go through the entire fish. We are not gouging it, we are not stabbing it. This is just so that the oils from this fish excrete as it's heating and being cooked, and it also contributes to the fish staying moist while it cooks and making sure that that skin is crispy. Try your best. Just make sure that you are not hacking the fish up. As you see, I pinch it and I allow my knife to do the work. It's just a swift motion. They're not very deep. Once you finish scoring the fish, go ahead and add your spice mixture. Please be gratuitous with this and then go ahead and rub it in. We want to make sure that we season this. Y'all know I'm all about flavor. We are not serving bland food to our friends and family. So you're going to go ahead and season both sides, skin and flesh. Alright, so fish does not take very long to cook. This salmon was about 3 pounds, so I put it on the grill for approximately 20 minutes at 375 degrees. If I were to use a kitchen thermometer to test the internal temperature of the salmon, it should be around 130, 140 degrees. Anything more than that and your fish is going to be dry, and we don't want that. Allow for your salmon to cool for about 10 minutes. We don't want all the juices to run out of it, and then cut it into small fillets. I suggest no more than 2 or 3 ounces per piece. By now, everything should be done melding, your bread should be done proofing, your sauce, your chili oil should be done percolating in the refrigerator. So we can now go ahead and fry our flatbread and start constructing our sandwich. Go ahead and flour your working surface and then put your dough down and bring it all together. We're then going to take our chef's knife and break it into equal sections. So here I cut it in half, and then I cut those halves into quarters. We essentially want our pieces of bread to be big enough to make a sandwich. So ultimately you should end up with anywhere between 6 and 8 pieces, depending on how big you want them. Take each dough piece and use a rolling pin to flatten them into discs. I would say on average they should be anywhere between 6 and 7.5 to 8 inches across. You essentially need them to be big enough to sustain all the stuff you're going to put on your sandwich. Heat 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 tablespoon of olive oil in your skillet at approximately medium to medium-high heat, and then go ahead and put your dough disc on the fire. Keep an eye out for bubbles. That's the key to making sure that this is nice and golden brown and cooked through. Once you see, we'll call them a colony. Once you see a colony of bubbles start to arise, flip to the other side. Keep an eye out for more bubbles. Once you get that same little phenomenon, it's all done. You can take that piece of flatbread off and set it aside. Do this until all of your bread discs are cooked through. Now we can build our sandwich. Add a little romaine at the bottom, prop your fish up, add in your tzatziki on top, a little tomato for good measure. Now we can add our garnish. That Szechuan hot chili oil, make sure you get both oil and the flakes at the bottom. A little more salt and pepper. Finish it off with some dill. And if you please, go ahead and fry up some shallots. It really turns the party. Welcome back, underscores. How'd you like that recipe? I thought that was fun. I love the combination between the spicy Szechuan chili oil, that coolness of the tzatziki sauce, and then you get that char from the grilled fish. Like, oof, it was fantastic. Oof, love it. Anyway, thank you all for joining me for this newest episode of Dooley Does Food. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm still trying to get monetized. Y'all are helping me. I'm almost there. But YouTube was like, you gotta have 4,000 viewer hours. Like, how you get 4,000 viewing hours and your videos are only 12 minutes long? It's an uphill battle. But yes, like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what your favorite part of the video is below. Also, what do y'all want to see? I'm thinking my next episode might be a dessert. I don't know. So many ideas, so little time. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. And don't forget to engage with my content. A lot of the things that I talked about at the beginning of this video. We got podcasts. We got trivia shows. We got panels. Come on, y'all. Come for the ride. I know y'all live for me. All right. See y'all later. Bye.